Yay Media Group.
Welcome to a brand new episode of the Finished Podcast. Live, not live, pre-recorded from Mexico City.
Almost live. You're gonna see it tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true. We do it pretty quickly to airing it because we always talk about what's going on in our life at the moment. So
Yeah.
it'd be weird if it was too pre-recorded. Though that is cool. Do you know a lot of podcasts when they do a lot of interviews with guests, they'll go batch record like 5 and then not record for like a couple of months.
Really?
So yeah.
We just stopped recording for a couple of months. We don't batch.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
We have been looking at studio spaces here to maybe like elevate the content a bit, but it's hard, isn't it? It's hard finding time for all the things we want to do, especially for self-improvement stuff. But Francisco has a new potential career.
It's a parallel, but
A parallel career.
a parallel yeah, to everything else my career is.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but it's not related. It's not similar. You just mean you're not giving up on your career. You're just embarking on new potential.
This is my career. This is my other potential. They're parallel, but they're not related.
Why don't you tell our audience what it is?
So, I've been having the itch of art,
The art itch.
The art itch.
And you've been scratching it.
And I've been scratching it. So, like, for Christmas, your mom got me an amazing canvas. I've been looking for a canvas. Like, I'm either go big or go home type of guy. So I wasn't looking for a small canvas. I was looking for like a big 4-footed by 4-footed canvas. And your mom, I think, gave it to me for Christmas. So it's like, I need to put this to use. So I started having ideas, but nothing panned out. Months passed and passed and passed and passed. And I was talking to my landlord. And she was saying, hey, we were about to meet. It's like, can I meet you after my art class? I was like, what?
It was fate.
It's like, where are you taking class? Like, literally 4 blocks from your house. You can walk to it. So she gave me the phone number and I called this lady, and everything panned out. I started painting.
Yeah, so Fran's been going once a week for the most part it's like a 3 or 4 hour session every, once a week at night. And you made a lot of progress. I can't wait. He'll do a reveal once it's finished. It's near completion. I mean, would you say another 2? You think another 2 EP?
I'm gonna say another 2 months. Another month, from 2 weeks to a month, It takes a minute. It's a process. It's a conversation. You have a dialogue with your piece and you start.
I was pretty certain when
said
he's going to like an art class that he was going to come back and there's like, a nude model that he's gone for like 4 hours.
On Mondays there is. Yeah.
Really?
I've not done that.
Wow.
Yeah, I haven't done that yet. There is 3 weeks with a female model, 1 week with a male model.
Which one would you choose?
Both,
Yeah.
I'm gonna learn how to draw. I like to learn.
I feel like drawing a penis would be hard, like the female body is just easier to look at, Well, yeah, what happens as a nude model? Like you don't want it super soft, but you don't want it like fully hard when you're a nude model, What would your penile preference of nude modeling be? Like in between?
Just cross your legs. I don't want to see the penis, I don't want to draw it. I'm more interested in the female body. I think it's because my sexual preference,
I also think the female body is just like pretty usually. Like, just kind of the curvature of the female body and the softness.
100%.
Yeah.
No argument about that.
I was joking with one of the moms at school today, and I don't know if any of you feel this way, but I commend Fran for that because I think that it's so hard. Like we all have passions and interests in things that we want to have a hobby. But it can be so hard to justify finding the time, like when you're a parent and you're working, and then sometimes you feel guilty because you're like, I'm just making an excuse, right? Like I make an excuse for why I don't work out some days or why I don't do X, Y, and Z, why I haven't organized the office or whatever. But then when you think about, like for me, I would really love I would really love to take more like actual Spanish classes. I think I'm at a point that to get more conversational, I have a mom. I was telling her today she's going to help me. She's putting it out in her group chat. She's going to find someone like a woman to come to the house or something so I can actually get more conversational practice
Wow, that's amazing.
instead of just trying to practice with my new mom friends. Um, because I think I'm at a point that I've learned a lot of vocabulary to like get by day to day, but I don't know how to have a nice conversation. So anyway, I say that, but I've been saying that now for a few months now that we've been settled. And but then I go, "Ah, do I have the time or the money?" Can I justify that when I'm like, I mean, I'd like to go to some therapy too, and then you start to
How's the
justify.
prioritize anything that it's more important? I don't know if this vibration or the therapy. I think you need to
I mean, you're
have a
PT for
dialogue.
4 hours. Like, there's other
That
things you
is
could be
therapy,
doing.
Like it is so
I was just talking about
therapeutical.
my
I
experience.
killed two birds with one stone.
I hate when you say therapeutical. I don't think that's an actual word.
Therapeutic.
Mhm. Well, that's great for you. I was talking about my feelings just now, like my feelings about why I struggle to prioritize certain things because I always say like, "Oh, if I am doing that, I'm like that's an hour that I'm not working or that's an hour that I'm not momming." And I do, but especially with training for a half marathon, like I feel like I've chosen my one hobby for the moment. And then when that's done, that then maybe I'll do, no more running ever again. And I'll do the next thing on the list, because yeah, but I also see the side.
I think this is the right time to tell you that we just got signed up to the Rome Marathon. So don't give up on the running just quite yet.
You're kidding.
No, I'm not. I just newsflash. Thank Carla.
You bought tickets for us to run.
Yes, 2 tickets for the marathon. You know that it's not a raffle in Rome.
Yeah, you just buy a ticket.
Yeah, you just buy it like the one here. So
Okay. So, not running the Rome Marathon, going for pasta, I'll make signs in Italian and bring the kids and cheer you on because I don't think there's any way physically I can handle it. Now, if I were to run a marathon, I think Rome would be a nice place to do it. Like,
yeah,
how beautiful. But, like, I don't think I'm cut out for
like I
marathons.
get such a high out of running in Reforma where you pass one of the most beautiful sights. Like you pass the
Yeah.
angel, you pass the Diana, all these beautiful, beautiful sights in Mexico City. Can you imagine running like through I don't know what the route is, but like Vatican City, the
I
Coliseum
know the road. You
around.
started into the Coliseum.
That's amazing.
I am probably gonna opt out primarily because physically I don't think I could handle it. Also we'd have to train over the holidays because of the time. And it's pretty insufferable, right? Like to everyone that's a non-runner when people are runners because they just talk about running a lot. Like
But now you get it. Like I think you get why because it's that sense of accomplishment.
sure, I think it's amazing, actually. I think it's just superhuman.
It's like
to be
vegans,
like
you
that.
know,
Vegans. No, I think it's like
or crossfitters.
I think it's also like parenting. Like parenting is just such another level of like passion and responsibility. So you can't help but want to talk about your journey of parenting.
100%.
Like a marathon's the same because you spend a lot of time doing it. So I promise you, I'm probably not going to do it. But if I do it, I'm not going to become an insufferable person about the running. But I'll go to Rome.
Yeah, no, but dude, that's amazing. That's a good start.
Yeah.
You have to be there to be able to run.
It's like, do I want to have another baby or do I want to run a marathon? Because these are the decisions we have to ask ourselves. I'm more worried and more on this later. Like I keep getting not ads, but like accounts popping up in my algorithm on Instagram for like, are you in perimenopause? Why?
You know that is so crazy because I feel that in today's state we live in a Black Mirror episode. Like
I know it's listening because
like
we have had this. I had this conversation with someone.
yeah.
Not about me though. She was telling me, your friend that you introduced me to last week at that event, she was telling me she's 49, I think, or 50, that she's in perimenopause. And I think perimenopause is something that I hadn't even heard of until like the last year of my life because no one ever addressed that perimenopause could be like an 8-year thing before you go through menopause. So now, and I'm like, because I deep down, like, I really do wanna have another child, but I know there's obviously, like, there's 2 of us in this, and there's physical stuff, and there's financial stuff, and there's so much that you really do need to kind of figure out and be on the same page about. And so, I'm kind of going through this whole emotional thing with myself of, like, I really want another one, I think more than you do, but it obviously takes 2 of us, like, that that's important to me. Obviously, it's not like, "Well, I wanna have another baby," it's like, "No, like, we need to agree on that because you're, like, a great partner with that." And so when I think through all that stuff, but then I start getting these perimenopause ads, and it's so frustrating as a woman because we can be so feminist and independent in so many ways, and we've made so much progress with like the things that we're able to do and accomplish. No, it's true. You make that face that I don't like, but it's true because women used to be told like we had to have kids really young, and it was just this tradition. But now, women are going to medical school and we're doing all of these things and we're pushing off having babies till later, like I did. But there really is a problem because, like, even with the IVF, I don't even know if I'm going through menopause. Can I still do IVF? I don't even know the answer to that question because I didn't even know it was a thing. I just thought you went through menopause and, like, obviously you're not fertile anymore, you don't have a period. Like, that's all I knew about it. So I didn't realize.
I don't want to ask chat because I'm pretty sure my phone sees what I ask chat and I get bombarded with I'm gonna start getting bombarded with premenopausal stuff. Um
So that's great. We weren't even planning on talking about that today, but that is something to consider. Maybe some of you are going through it. I'm not going to talk about it because I don't know enough about it. So I need to educate myself. I'm going to go find a OB here and a fertility doctor and talk to them and kind of see where I'm at on that. But, like being a woman,
I don't think it's the end of the world. Like we can figure something out. Like I'm pretty sure you're not premenopausal first. Second, I'm pretty sure we can find a fresh young womb where we can put the baby.
I know. What is so fucked up is I hated the majority of pregnancy and definitely postpartum, right? Like
You look
I
great, pregnant.
thank you. I First trimester was rough because of the IVF because you're still doing all those shots and the hormones and you're scared and your whole lifestyle starts to change. And then second trimester was pretty good. Like that was the when you say I looked good, that's when I looked good because you look pregnant, your energy comes back, you don't have the morning sickness, you're feeling pretty good still. You want to nest, you want to do stuff. Then that third trimester kicks in and you're like, oh man, like remember my feet were like giant sausages, and I was just like in a recliner. I was scamming everyone for as many Sonic limeades as I could get. I would Uber Eats. What is it? The route something, the big one at Sonic. Do you remember the limeade? And they can't
Oh.
bring me one. My mom would bring me one. I was just like,
My
I needed.
dad learned how to perfection it.
Your dad used to make them for me. That's right. That was amazing. I was so well taken care of after your family was so great. Anyway, how sick, how sick we are that it's like, I want to do it again. I've actually been romanticizing, like, how nice to like wear a button down with my belly sticking out. It's so cute, to be pregnant. But like, I see the other pregnant moms that we have in school right now, and they're getting to the end. Two of them are like
You
at
look
that last month.
that there.
They look kind of miserable. They're like sitting there,
No, not like
not
they just
miserable,
look
but yeah,
like
tired.
they are in the last stretch.
And also kind of freaked because they have a toddler at home, and I know they're in that moment of like, "Oh, shit's about to get real." But, I think the thing for me, and we can move on from it, is I when you become a mom, I don't know if you felt this way since becoming a dad. I have found myself reflecting so much on my childhood and my relationship with my mom or my parents and moments of childhood more than I ever did before. I never thought I had a great childhood, never thought much more about it. But I think when you in living with my mom, you talk a lot more about things that happened when you were a kid, things about her life as a mom, like how lucky I am to have a mom to take care of and reminisce. Like, remember my mantra. I
How does that mantra work? Yeah.
It's great. It's great. It's grounding. It's great. Again, because when you get older, you don't I at least don't do this grass is greener thing. Do you know what I mean? Like I don't do that like I used to in my 20s when you and I are having problems or when I'm frustrated with, a family situation or something like that and I'm like, you know, I don't do what I used to do, when I was more like emotionally immature and I'd be like, if I could just be alone, with no family and no partner and I'd just be alone because yeah, being alone sometimes is a bit easier. But now that I'm older, I don't feel that way. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that like relationships and family struggles and things are just like a journey. Like it's actually really cool when you see people like your parents, they've been together for a long time and you know that they've gone through some shit, I'm sure, right? Like any couple has. Like they've gone through really hard times, they've gone through tragedies, they've gone through probably difficult years, difficult months, whatever. And I think it's really cool when people make it through, and also understandable why a lot of people don't make it through because life's just really hard, you know? And anyway, I months is going great, but I think that I think a lot about my life growing up as an only child, and I had a great life. I think there's a lot of upsides to being an only, especially, whether it's financial reasons, which it was mainly for my parents at the time. They were a little overwhelmed. My dad was working all the time. My mom was like, we could barely afford you when we had you. And then by the time they could afford another kid, like that ship had kind of sailed, like it just didn't happen again for them. And they were okay with it. She's like, it was pretty overwhelming. I had no family around. And so I think that she doesn't regret that, but they did try, to have another. And I don't know. I think a lot about how if I really couldn't and we tried, um, okay, right? Like, you kind of come to peace with that sort of thing, but
I think what is very important is that no childhood is like another. And regardless if we have another kid, Ren is going to like he has a lot more people around him than most just because
I know.
now we're here. Uh Thankfully I have a big family. Thankfully we have your mom here, maybe with one eye. But that's another subject.
Sorry if you can hear dogs barking, Remy screaming. There's a lot of activity happening right now.
Um but I think it's just a different experience.
Of course it is, but our parents are older, we're older, and I can only speak I do have the experience of being an only child, and you have an experience of having siblings. You don't have the only child experience, and I do, and I didn't like it. And again, it's fine, I'm okay, but I have actually disliked it most as an adult. As a kid, I didn't think anything else. I was, spoiled with attention, and that's what's cool. You can get a lot more opportunity with a child when they're the only one, and I think one is great, and I agree with you, he'd be just fine. But I think about that I always said since I was a little kid that I wanted 2 kids because I was so lonely sometimes, and in ways it's good for you because you mature a bit more, you're around adults more. There's a lot of proven scientific things with only children, like, they're fine. I'm sure some of you have only children, and it's fine. It's just that personally for me, I always wanted 2. I didn't want more. Too many is too overwhelming for me after growing up as an only, but I believe that I think a lot about, yeah, going through stuff with my mom, having my parents get divorced. I mean, there were certain moments in my life where I was so, so alone and it was really a bummer. I also really struggled sometimes with female friendships because of it, because I used to treat more in high school and college, and even post college early on, I used to treat some of my female friends as sisters because what else was there for me, right? Like, of course, it's like a sister. Like, I would feel that close. Like, I would go home with them.
Good idea of a
Of
system.
course, because a best friend, especially when you're in high school and college, because you're spending a lot of time together or you're living with them, you would go home with them for some holidays and be with their parents, and you would be sleeping in the same bed every night in college because you come home from the bar. Like you're very, very close. But then there's always those moments where you go, wow, like, but I'm not their sister because they have a sister. So then you felt that. And that was kind of bad for me because you don't know how to treat someone as just a friend and not a sibling anyway. So I've been thinking through a lot of that. I think about that kind of stuff all the time. And yeah, he'd be fine. And sure, like life is great as they grow because you just have one kid that you're like, dealing with for college and a car and like all of those other expenses that come up as they get older. But people figure it out. I mean, people have 6 kids and figure it out
Yeah.
now on 6. But, like, I understand now why people do have bigger families because I've always dreamt of, like, a holiday, and I got it more when I started dating you. I always said I wanted to date someone that wasn't an only child also. Like, I always wanted to date someone that had a nice family situation because I missed or I guess I always kind of fantasized over, like, not the Home Alone level of holiday, but, like, bigger family Christmas party and
Something
Thanksgiving
that
and
is great. I think the holiday part for sure.
yeah, because can't tell you how many moments it was just like my mom and I on a holiday. And it was fine. Like we've always made the best of it and had a nice time. But I always kind of had that dream of like, you have more grandkids and you have, I don't know, even if we just had 2 kids, then they have girlfriends and family and it just kind of grows from there. So maybe it was like I'm yearning to create more of a family than I had.
For sure. I think there's greatness in both sides. I've never been an only child, but I can only tell you my experience. Having a sister and a brother, it's not greener grass, you know? I think they're there, but in the first years of your life, you never get along. There's very few people that I think I started getting along with my sister when I was like 17, 18, like 15 maybe. Like really good, like having a good relationship. And then she started dating her now husband, and I abhorred that guy before. So we spent 5 years of just
You
not.
what?
I didn't like him, like he wasn't my cup of tea. And with my brother, I think we started getting along like 10 months ago. So it's
Yeah, he's like 9 years younger though, and I get it. I get it. You can have a bad seed. I mean, my mom and her
nah,
sister
he's not a bad seed.
No, I didn't say that. But I was talking about my mom and her sister, like,
Oh yes.
not a great relationship. So, yeah, there's a lot of variables in life. We don't know what the future holds, but I feel that's where I'm at. I mean, I can only talk about where how I feel. I can only be, like, honest about my feelings, about what's important to me, and kind of what I've envisioned for my family
No, and I
life, and
think it's very, very valid, and it's important that if that's something you want to explore it.
yeah. But on that note, yeah, Candy has 1 eye right now, and, she's okay, but, part of living in another country that's so daunting, and it's hard to I don't want it to come across in a way of complaining, and I know a lot of you can relate to what I'm gonna tell you, but, it is those medical moments where you're not fluent in the language and a lot's happening in a moment, and, medical centers here sometimes look quite a bit different than in the United States. I was talking to the moms about it this morning because, you're like, "Is this an apartment building?" And it's fine. It's just that maybe it's just because of certain things we have in the States, like everything's so medical, when you go to a medical building or a surgery center, it's an urgent care, it has a certain vibe. Like, yeah, cold, sterile, very clinical, certain lighting, a waiting room, everything's like that. But here in Mexico, I found that medical care is great, but the appearance sometimes is a bit different, like it is. It looks like a side street with like not a lot of signage, an apartment building. And my mom, everything looked a bit dated, and so, but it's a doctor that had done her surgery already, but she's had a lot of issues with the eye. And so when I took her the other morning, it was quite far away, and the nurse receiving me didn't speak any English. And, when it's medical stuff and you're filling out a form, sometimes you need like a little bit of help with that. And so I'm well, glad I was with her. So I'm doing it for her. And they take her off, and I said, ¿cuánto tiempo por mi mamá? I don't even know if that's correct. And she said, "Oh, like 30 minutos." Oh, okay. 30 minutes. So an hour goes by, and I'm sitting there, and the nurse comes out and hands me a form that is like a consent form. It says in Spanish, consenta de sedación or whatever you say. And I was like, What? Like, they weren't giving her any anesthesia, and I was like, "Well, that."
And they say bring like a briefcase full of marbles. Which color eye do you want for the right one?
So I was like, "Wait," like, my mom's also almost 70. She's 69 years old, and the doctor had said, this is no anesthesia, it's local anesthetic." And I'm thinking in my head, like, "Okay, maybe she got scared, maybe she asked for anesthesia, but why has it been an hour and they're having me sign her name?" And I thought, I called you because, you're in this moment of you wanna trust the system, right? Like, this is a good doctor. I'm sure that she either wanted it or maybe it was more serious when they got in there and she needed it, but it's so scary in those kind of heavier medical moments with a parent to also feel so foreign, like you don't know if you're making the right decision, and I kind of had this like, I'm like, but like, is she okay? Like I could hear monitors beeping too, like I was just like, she's supposed to get blood work done before anesthesia, because that's what you do when you're elderly. Like you have to get blood work done to make sure you're healthy enough to go under anesthesia. So anyway, she's fine. She came out of it, but I didn't get a chance to talk to anyone until it was over. And when the doctor and anesthesiologist came out, they both spoke English and just kind of filled me in. They had to graft her eye from like another part of her eye, and it was all felt very, something about that eye, felt very like hostile, like very torturous, right? Think of her being awake. She said she could feel it though. That's why it was like she had to go under because it was so severe when they got in there. But they have like her eye open and like she said she could still feel it, by the way. She was only under twilight anesthesia. So she's like, I could literally like feel so much pressure in them putting stitches in my eye, which is just awful. So poor thing has been such a
I
mess.
think the eye is like one of the most delicate things in your
I
body,
know.
if not the most.
She's such a trooper, but like, I'm like carrying her out of there. She's asking me a million questions. Shouldn't remember any of it, but it's again another reason to have another child. So when we get in our old age, they can kind of share the load of taking care of us. No, I'm so glad she's okay, but she gets home and Remy goes, "Why a girl's eye?" It just was a patch. I was trying to play it up like it's fun, like she's pirate, and so we were teasing like she has one eye. So now he's been calling her Candy One Eye. Grandma
That's
One
so
Eye.
funny.
Grandma No Hope.
That is so funny. He's so observative and listens to everything.
Very observant. Yeah. I said to Francisco the other day, I was like, you have to, I just noticed the switch again with him, because even when you said swear words or other things, he hasn't caught on as much until I know we talked last week about how we were saying like because there was like a dead animal under like we don't know like under the floorboards on the side where my mom is, and like her room smelled so bad, and we had people come out and I was like, it stinks. And then I was like, wait, we can't always say stinks, stinky and stinks. Because sometimes they'll come home from school saying new words. And I'm like, of course, other kids. I mean, they're gonna learn so much from each other at school.
In English?
But yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The parents were talking about that today, that a lot of the kids' English they say like really improved, that they're starting to talk in English. Like,
Yeah, because of Remy. You're welcome, people.
no, he's in an English school. What do you mean?
Because the Remy is there teaching the
Yeah,
real life
we're talking about
vocabulary.
classroom. The other teacher, the other
He's teaching us in that classroom. I'm pretty sure he goes
yeah,
there.
friend. Um, anyway, but yeah, he's really paying attention to everything, even when he's staring off into space. And I was like, wow, he's really hearing stuff. Cause then he'll ask me what something is. I go, I think we're getting into now that danger zone of like, so yeah. But then I also think if they're smart enough, you can tell them, like, we don't say those words. He said something about something being ugly the other day. And I was like, you can say that word to mama, but you do not say that word to anyone else. Just like you don't pull out and play with your penis skin anywhere else, you know? Like, I don't know what to do about that. I guess you just let him.
Yeah, it hurts it like he's to feel stuff.
I mean, I swear I look at him the other day and he's like pulled his skin out this far. And to me, like as a woman, I'm like, well, obviously if it hurt him really bad, he wouldn't do it. But I'm also like, oh, like I don't even want to look at that. Like that has to hurt. Stop messing
That
with that.
never stops.
I'm always like, Remy, like you're gonna want that in good condition one day. Like, you're gonna want that to be nice. So take care of it. I don't know what to say to him though. I was like, I don't know the penis talk. I don't know how to I don't know what to say about it. And I also don't want to make it too big of a deal. You don't want to make it like it's a shameful thing. to touch or to explore, to figure it out, you know? So I'm trying to kind of find that happy medium of like, I don't know, boy mom stuff, right?
Yeah. I think it's natural playing with that ever. And
It's so strange. Like we women, like we don't have to sit here and like, you know, and touch ourselves like
well,
it
especially if it's cold, like that's you know, I don't know what to tell you. Outboard motor is different, you know.
that
Outboard motor, like a boat, you know, like one's up inside. Hugging a penis is quite different.
I'm sure. I'd like it. I feel like men
I think you should go get one if you want, you know.
I love that everyone at least gets to see it on camera. Thank you. All right. Well, we'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye.